How much do you know about cybersecurity?
Cybersecurity for a long time has been seen as an IT issue. The IT team will sort it out. That's true, they do have most of the solutions, but the problem is that the effects of cybersecurity attacks are felt by the company. It's a company problem, it's an organisational risk. And so directors need to take responsibility for it. They really need to understand that their company is at stake. There are now cyber attacks on companies, on organisations or parts of organisations daily, literally daily, and in some cases tens of attacks daily. In particular, the sorts of attacks that are happening increasingly are attacks where the information that an organisation holds is attacked. So they do what's called a ransomware attack. A ransomware attack is where a criminal will get a bit of software onto a computer system and will then encrypt all the critical information on that system. Encrypt it so that it's not readable by anybody, it can't be accessed by anybody. And then they send a polite little message saying, if you gave us some money, we'll unencrypt it for you again. Or maybe they don't unencrypt it. Maybe they just say, well, just give us the money and we'll pretend to give you the key and you've still lost the information. Or increasingly, a new type of attack is being loosely termed doxware, where they take the information, actually literally take it away, they download it, and then put it onto something like WikiLeaks. Now, if that's sensitive commercial information, that basically ruins the company. Board members' legal responsibilities are many and varied. There are the obvious basic ones of Data Protection Act in the UK, still extant, still valid, still has a requirement in it to look after sensitive information, particularly sensitive information, not particularly sensitive, you might argue, names and addresses, for example, class as information that should be looked after properly. And failing to look after it, the ICO is beginning to levy some fairly hefty fines on organisations when they don't look after the information properly. But that's the current situation. What's coming down the track is much more worrying. The legislation coming out of the European Union, what's commonly known as GDPR, or the General Data Protection Regulations, they are being enacted in the UK within the next 18 months or so. 2018 is the year they're going to become active. And those are going to have with them some very, very serious financial penalties. Up to 20 million euros, 4% of gross worldwide turnover could be the fine if you're found guilty of losing sensitive information. If I was running a company right now, I'd be worried. I'd certainly be worried. I'd be making sure I get in good professional advice. I'm not an expert in everything, and cybersecurity is a very technical area in terms of the ways in which controls have to operate. So you need to get the right expert sort of advice in. I'd need to train my staff. Staff are probably the biggest weakness we have, insofar as the staff do things that they shouldn't be doing. There is a genuine case not too long ago of a chap who received an email one day saying that his young child at a local school, there'd been an incident at the school, and they wanted to make sure that the parents were aware of that incident. If they would like to click on the link in the email, it would take them to a website where it would tell them what the incident was and whether their child was affected, and if so, how, and so on. Now, I think as a parent, I would click on that link every time. And this guy clicked on the link and it went to a website and it said, oh, don't worry about it, it was only a fire alarm, the fire brigade are being called away, no problem whatsoever, you can collect your daughter at 4 o'clock as usual today. And he didn't think anything more about it, except the whole thing was a setup. It was bogus. And you might say, well, how did they know he had a child at the local school? Well, like most people, he had a Facebook account, he had a LinkedIn account, he's probably on Instagram or one of these many social platforms. The criminals have something else that you and I don't have. They have plenty of time to do their research, and they will dig out the information they need to make those bogus emails look even more realistic, even more genuine, so you're even more likely to click on the link or to download the bogus invoice or whatever it might be. So train the staff is probably one of the most important things we can do. If you go back 15 or 20 years into the world of health and safety, Everybody was worried about health and safety. Everybody was making sure that everybody was taught how to lift properly, how to make sure they didn't slip over on slippery floors, how to put ladders up and climb up ladders correctly, and so on and so forth. It was all in the news because of a few fairly major incidents that cost companies quite a lot of money. It's become almost second nature. That's not to belittle it, to say that it's unimportant, but that's the attitude we now have. Everybody accepts it's important, everybody does it, almost by default. We're nowhere near that with cybersecurity, but that's where we have to get to. We have to get to everybody thinking about security all the time. And this isn't just about individuals in the workplace. Clicking on links at home will do as much damage as clicking on links in the office. In fact, you could argue that's more likely to do damage, because if you work from home and you have access to the company's intranet from home, then your laptop or your PC at home becomes the weak point. Your phone becomes the easiest way of getting in. And with the old analogy of the weakest link in the chain is always the one you're going to go for, criminals know that, and they will attack those weak links. That's why it's a business issue. It needs to be the directors who worry about those sort of things and decide what sort of measures to take to address them and to try and reduce the likelihood of it happening.
APMG International, the big picture. Let us help you take the next step. APMG can help you assess your cybersecurity status so you can demonstrate to key management that you have a robust cybersecurity plan. Contact us to find out how our cybersecurity products and tools, including Cyber Essentials and the Cyber Defense Capability Assessment Tool, CDCAT, a unique online tool based on MOD research from DSTL, can give you a fast online summary of the cybersecurity health of your business. CDCAT is a registered trademark of DSTL, all rights reserved.